South Africa, and good day to all. So my name is Bruno Arruda, and I will be your moderator today. On behalf of Ambassador Nidilson Jorge and the Embassy of Brazil to South Africa, I'd like to thank both speakers here today, as well as the participants that have joined us. I would also like to thank the African Agri Council and the organizers of the Investment Food Forum for this session. I'm sure we're set to have a very productive and fruitful discussion today about a thing that is always a trending topic: how to best produce the food that we need. It has become increasingly clear that not only must we produce more food and have it arriving in every plate, but we must do so the best, most sustainable way. In the last decades, technology and productivity have transformed Brazil's agricultural production, together with a solid public policy framework directed at environmental conservation. Today, the country is a major food producer and exporter, and the concept of sustainability is a value cherished by the Brazilian society. It's part of its identity. In the foreseeable future, the country will continue to play an important role as a global food supplier, with commodity production increasing an average 18.4% by 2028, according to the latest projections. In this time frame, in order to maintain its technological edge and become ever more productive and sustainable, Brazil is open and will welcome foreign investment with appealing prospects of return for investors. So today we have two guest speakers that will be able to design a clearer picture of where Brazil stands in terms of its food production and opportunities for investment. At any point, I would like to encourage participants to pose questions or comments that I will address to the speakers, hopefully time allowing. So firstly, I would like to invite Mr. Luís Caruso, General Coordinator at the Directorate of Trade and Investment Promotion at the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Food Supply of Brazil. Mr. Caruso will talk about trends in the area, why to invest in Brazil, and where are the opportunities. Over to you, Caruso. Caruso?
Thank you very much, Bruno. Is it okay, the audio now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, after your introduction, I think you don't even have to do a presentation, correct? You've spoken everything about agriculture, but it's a big pleasure. Bruno and Luís, nice to see you again, and all the folks, everyone who's here at this important session of Investment Food Forum 2020. Always when we talk about Brazilian agriculture and its big change that has made, it's always important for us to go back in time, back to some decades ago, more specifically to the 1960s, when an important situation was that Brazil was a net importer of food in the 60s. That's 60 years ago, correct? So during this time, and as you know, Brazil is a continental country. It has different biomes in different areas, in different kind of agriculture that's being produced in these biomes. So as I told you, in the 60s, when we were basically a net importer, Brazil basically produced coffee and sugar, and these were the products that were produced here and exported, and we needed to import everything. We even had some aid, some assistance, some food assistance at that time from institutions like USAID. In the 70s, we began a big transformation in the agriculture in Brazil, which was the possibility of agriculture rising up in the country, going to the center-west part of the country. This was basically due to research and development from MAPA, our agricultural research center, together with our main agricultural universities at that time. And due to this capability of making agriculture going upwards to the country, to the center-west of our Cerrado region, and specifically in soybeans, there was an enormous transformation in the agricultural sector. And by the 90s, Brazil was one of the, in 20 years, from the 70s to the 90s, Brazil became one of the main global players in agricultural sector. Nowadays, Brazil, we are the number one exporter in orange juice, in coffee, in soybeans, meat, chicken, and number one producer in most of these commodities as well. And this, the main point here, as in an investment forum, I believe the main point to pass the message is that all this transformation was based in productivity. So if you get figures, if you get numbers from Brazilian agriculture in the past 20 years, 30 years from now, the area expansion in Brazil for agriculture and livestock production, it basically maintained. It basically remained the same. In agriculture, if I'm not mistaken, was something like 30% increase in 30 years, 40 years, something like that. While the production in grains, it had an increase of almost 400%. So this was the main reason for the success of agricultural production in Brazil. And today, the Ministry of Agriculture, due to this great success and the importance of Brazil in the role in the agricultural area in the world today, the main challenge now is for Brazilian agriculture to continue increasing its agricultural production while preserving its natural infrastructure and mitigate carbon. And we do that. We have some tools here at the ministry where we do that. Basically, we have some programs to continue growing and preserving the environment here in Brazil. So I'd say that the main success of agriculture in Brazil for these past decades would be basically from these tools, these technological tools that we use, would be the intense use of no-tillage system, the use of biological nitrogen fixation, this specifically in the production of soybeans, which is the basis of our agriculture nowadays, the main field, and the Cerrado region, where I told that was the expansion of the agricultural sector in these past decades. It's our savanna. The land here wasn't capable of producing soybeans, for example, because it was too acid. So we had to do a soil correction and do in these investments that I told you in research and technology, investments in the soil, investments in the seed that made possible this transformation in the agricultural sector. And well, after this transformation, now we have some programs. We have the main program here for conservation of the area here in Brazil. It's a program called ABC program, low carbon program here at the ministry, which basically it wraps up, it picks all these mechanisms, these tools that we are working on to make Brazil this carbon clean agriculture, and it passes these tools to all our producers in the world. We have inside this ABC program, we have an integration program, which is called, how do you say that? Livestock forest. How do you say that, Luis? How do you say that in English?
Forest agriculture integration, right?
Yeah, livestock forest agriculture integration. Yeah, correct. Which, in other words, today producers in Brazil, we have more than 32,000 farms doing that. They produce in the same area, they can produce livestock, they can raise livestock, they produce grains, they produce soybeans, they produce corn, they produce trees for forestry, planted trees all in the same area, in the same time, in the same period. So it's an example of a mechanism that we have here, a tool that mitigates all these carbon emission program. And because of these high technology, as I told you, the basis of the success of Brazil in terms of production is technology, is the raise in productivity. But to do that, to continue doing that with conservation of the environment, we need finance. We need each time more investment in our agricultural sector. A very important point that the ministry is working on nowadays is the mission of green finance, green bonds. It's a multi-billionaire market, world market, in which basically is a financial tool, a financial mechanism, a financial certificate emission as the ones that we have in the market, with the addition of being green. Being green means agricultural projects that are environmentally friendly. The Ministry of Agriculture has been working with the main certifier of that in the world, which is CBI, Climate Bond Initiative. It's based in the UK. And we are working on, at this exact moment now, we are working on preparing our producers, not only producers, but all the chain, the agricultural chain in Brazil, producers, industries, everything, to be prepared to have their production system in a way that they are able to receive these investments, these money from investors around the world, and with this seal of green bonds, of being environmentally friendly. There were 3 emissions already here in Brazil, all internally from financial institutions, Brazilian or international financial institutions based in Brazil, and now we are preparing to launch it to the world. Brazil has is from all countries in the world, is one that has the main potentiality to issue these green bonds. The market just for agricultural green bonds is around $200 billion of potential of issuing these papers. In Brazil, the paper for these 2 emissions, it's called CPR in Brazil. It's a rural product paper, something like that in English would be something like that. That until the beginning of this year, it was a paper that it could be only issued in our currency, in Brazilian real. Now we did a modification in the law, and now this product, this paper, it will be able to be issued in foreign money, so US dollars or euros or whatever, which will make it possible for international investors to invest in these papers. And it's important to say that in green bonds, the focus is not only on the person who is issuing, the focus is on the program, the project that is under that certificate. So for example, to give a specific example, it will be a producing farm that makes all these, has a program of conservation of riverbanks, conservation of water conservation, not only farms, but industries as well. A slaughterhouse that has all the programs based on these international certifier, which in Brazil's case will be the one that I told, CBI, in the UK. So my 10 minutes here that I have to talk to you guys, I like to just emphasize that Brazil has made a great transformation during the past decades, based specifically in gain of productivity, and due to that, it went from a net importer to the main exporter in the world, main exporter and main producer of the majority of the commodities in the world. And to continue doing that without affecting the environment, we need investment. We've been investing. We invest in our farmers. We invest in technology, and now we invest in these tools. We are preparing these tools to receive each time more investment from other countries in the world. Well, for the beginning, I believe I've passed a little here. For the beginning, these are my what I like to share with you today, and I'm open for any questions later on.
Thank you very much, Caruso, for this brief outline of the Brazilian model and this call out for investors that may be interested in investing in sustainability through the green bonds or other ways that are presented by the Brazilian market. Thank you very much for that. Now to give you a very practical account of what the private sector has been up to in terms of applying breakthrough technology to increasing production and improving sustainable practices, I would like to invite Mr. Luís Rua, Markets Manager of the Brazilian Association of Animal Protein, the ABPA. Mr. Rua will be able to shed light on the characteristics of Brazilian chicken and pork exports. So now over to you, Luís.
Thank you, Bruno. Good afternoon to everyone. I'll share my screen here. Just a second, please. Do you see my screen, Bruno?
Perfectly.
Thank you. So, first of all, I would like to thank the Brazilian Embassy in Pretoria for the invitation, and also say this is a huge pleasure to be here at this panel with Mr. Caruso from our Ministry of Agriculture and Bruno Arruda from the Brazilian Embassy. Nice to see you guys again. Today, in my presentation, I will be talking about the sustainable measures in Brazil for the chicken and pork industry. So, moving to the first slide, first, I would like to start talking a little bit more about ABPA. What is ABPA? An ABPA is the entity that represents the Brazilian poultry and pork sectors nationally and internationally, and gathers 140 companies and entities, local entities from Brazil, from the entire production chain. Today, ABPA has offices in São Paulo, which is our headquarters, Brasilia, which is our capital, Brussels, and also Beijing in China. So, starting with chicken, I would like to share some figures with you. For instance, Brazil today is the third largest producer of chicken in the world, and also the largest exporter of this protein since 2004. Currently, we export for more than 140 countries in 5 continents. So this is the size of the Brazilian poultry industry. Just to have an idea, in 2019, for example, we produced more than 13 million tons of chicken and exported more than 4 million tons, which means that around 1/3 of our production was exported last year. Regarding pork meat, in 2019, we have produced 4 million tons and exported around 20% of our production to more than 70 countries around the world. Currently, Brazil is the 4th largest producer and exporter of this protein. And as I have already said, Brazil is one of the world's largest protein producers and exporters. And Brazil's ability to supply safe and sustainable products has become one of the country's fundamental commitments to ensuring the market's continued access as well as the concept of local complementarity. And when we talk about local complementarity, Brazil stands, it's important to highlight that, Brazil stands in favor of strategic partnerships in order to support the local industry and to provide food of high quality and safety for everyone. And I would like to use the example of South Africa in this regard, because nowadays, 65% of our exports to South Africa are what we call it mechanically deboned meat, the MDM, which is an important raw material for the local industries that add value to this product, to this MDM. And again, I would like to highlight that Brazil does not have any evil plan to destroy local industry. Rather, we like to work together, and we like to work together with South Africans, with Europeans, Japanese, with everyone in the world who wants to work together with us. So moving to the next, here you can see some figures of our exports in the last 10 years to South Africa. So moving to the next slide, I would like to talk a little bit more about what makes us capable to be an international player and to work as a strategic partner to all those markets, all these 140 countries that we access today. So we can, and Caruso already enumerated some of these points, these factors. We can enumerate a number of them. For instance, the combination of natural resources in abundance with high availability of grains, combined with an integrated chain production, with high investments in technology and with disease-free health status. These characteristics are the main reasons why Brazil is such a relevant global player and the largest exporter of chicken meat in the world and the fourth of pork. So these are the main characteristics in the last 6 years. Caruso, remember that in the 60s, Brazil used it to import products, import agri-products, and today Brazil is one of the main exporters in the world, not only in chicken and pork, but in a huge number of agri-products. But I would like to share this chart. This chart is from Embrapa, but NASA from the US also has some data on that. And we know that nowadays, sustainable measures in the production chains have become a major concern all over the world. And as an example of commitment to this sustainability, Brazil's environmental legislation is nowadays one of the most advanced and far-reaching in the world. The legislation in Brazil incorporates actions that aim to conserve the environment by directly involving the actors in the production chains. This environmental legal framework, as it has been put into place by the Brazilian Forest Code and also the Low Carbon Agricultural Program, as Caruso explained it us, requires such steps as the introduction of permanent preservation areas into the farms. This is completely new in the world. And according to data from Embrapa, over 5 million square kilometers, or around 2/3 of Brazilian territory, is made up of areas dedicated to protecting, preserving, and conserving the country's native vegetation. I can assure you that there is no country in the world with this level of conservation. So Brazil is working hard to keep these forests with a number of measures to avoid deforestation and avoid any kind of diminution these figures. Other point that I would like to highlight with you is that practically almost all of Brazil's poultry meat and pork production comes from areas outside the Amazon biome. If you look at this map, Brazil's southern and southeastern regions of the country accounts for more than 80% of production of these proteins, which means that production of pork and poultry in Brazil are 2,000 kilometers far from Amazon. In this way, while internal factors help brings down CO2 emissions, the companies in Brazil are also investing in countless initiatives designed especially to preserve and reuse resources in order to boost, as Caruso also explained it, the productivity and also reduce these environmental impacts. So if you move to the next slide, we can see here that as a general rule, Brazil's climate also favors energy consumption. The production of poultry, meat, and pork, as I explained before, is concentrated mainly in southern Brazil, which is a temperate region that, in any case, offer better thermal comfort for this production. Also, if you look at to the weather and in investments in renewable energy sources, all of these initiatives enable Brazil to produce chicken meat and also pork meat at levels of CO2 emissions 45% below those of the United Kingdom, for example, and 50% lower than France's chicken production segment. And this data is according to DEFRA from UK. So this is an important point to share with you. If we look also to this technology, if you look at to the beginning of the last century, we see that at that time we did not have any genetic improvements, and today with this application of these genetics improvements, all of this has enabled Brazil to become an export hub for genetic material. Nowadays, we export also the day-old chick, for example. And not only has it done this, but it has also transformed Brazil's poultry raising into an efficient, productive system. And this chart we are seeing here in the screen translates a little bit the application of this genetic technology into practical terms. In Brazil, an animal weighing 2.4 kilograms is produced in average in 40 days using only 1.6 kilo of feed as the conversion ratio. And this feed is, as you know, is made basically of maize, is about 2/3 of the total, and soy meal around a quarter of the total composition of this feed. Well, we also have here in Brazil the integrated system, which is a system that the Brazilian producers work together with the agri industry. So these producers can assure better quality in their products, and with a greater control over the production process. With this, we can have a better risk control, and it gets easier in a way to minimize the diseases spread. So it's important to highlight in the next slide. We can see this our sanitary status that is free from global diseases. Brazil, it's important to say, has never recorded any case of avian influenza on its soil, and it's important to highlight our sanitary stats in this way. And going to the end of my presentation, I'll talk a little bit more about some measures that we are working today to keep this sustainability in our production. Talking a little bit more about the main trends for animal protein, we believe that the points or the factors that will be demanded the most from companies in our sector is going to be the reliability, the human health and nutrition, the animal welfare, and especially sustainability. And then considering that, we know and we work very close to what we call the UN, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In this sense, Brazil operates in two fronts. The first one by the International Poultry Council, in which the country commits to these 5 specific goals, as you can see here. But also Brazilian companies are going beyond, they're going further these goals, and are committing themselves to additional measures like clean water and sanitation, responsible consumption and production. So just to highlight some examples of sustainable actions that have been taken by Brazilian companies, there is one company in our sector, it's only one example, that has a planted renewable forest. Caruso explained to us a little bit more about the integration between agriculture, livestock, and also forest. This company has a planted renewable forest, which is a renewable energy source for its units. And currently, this area has more than 31,000 hectares spread in 8 Brazilian states. And this company specifically aims to achieve more than 30% of self-produced energy from clean and or renewable sources by 2025. In addition, this company work for a return of the water resources to the environment, maintaining sanitary and quality standards of this water. In total, nowadays, 87.5% of this captured water is returned after treatment to the environment. Moreover, there is another company in our sector of great representativeness also that invested last year, 2019, more than 1.9 billion reais, which is about 500,000 dollars in sustainability. And among the actions that this company worked last year, the company, for example, evaluates more than 100,000 farms daily to avoid the purchase of animals from properties involved in deforestation, invasion of indigenous lands, and environment preservation areas. So we have a lot of sort of actions that are being taken in order to keep Brazilian production and exports looking to what the consumers around the globe are looking for, and they are looking for sustainability. That's why we are doing every day here in Brazil, in Brazilian poultry and pork sector. And just to finish my presentation, I would like to state that one of the main roles of Brazil is to supply food for the world in a sustainable manner. And then with that, we believe there should be no borders for sustainable food in the world. Thank you very much, and I'm at your disposal to any queries, any questions you guys have.
Thank you very much, Luís. So to wrap up this session, I believe we are about on time. I'd like to quickly highlight some of the key messages of today's discussion. So first, Brazil has come a long ways in terms of enhancing its productivity and is now ready to embrace partnerships, particularly in this case in the African continent. It is also open for investors all around the world and has plenty of investment opportunities to offer, with sustainability as a key component of our production. So thank you both, Caruso and Luís, for sharing your insights, and thank you all for joining us today. So please let me one more time invite you all those who have questions and comments related to trade and investment and agricultural production in Brazil, to contact us at the Embassy of Brazil in Pretoria through the email secom.pretoria@itamaraty.gov.br. You'll be written on the chat screen of this virtual environment. So I hope to see you all in Brazil. Have a good day further. Bom dia.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Bruno. Nice to see you, Luís, and thank you for everyone that was watching.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, Caruso. It was a pleasure.